The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Nyssa Rural Fire Protection District, Oregon, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 34977. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting just under the front bumper, you'll find 2 open-ended tow hooks on the passenger and driver's side frame rail. Moving up onto the face of the bumper, on both sides, you'll find dual air horns. Moving to the driver's side is where you'll find on the bumper face electronic siren PA speaker. Let's move up onto the bumper extension where you'll find your front turret located on the passenger side. As we move toward the center, you'll find a tubbed storage location. Moving up onto the cab, on the outer edges, you'll find your headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights and turn indicator. Just above the Pierce logo is where you'll find 2 forward-facing emergency warning lights, and directly above the Freightliner logo is where you'll find your grab handle to tilt the hood. Let's move now to some close-ups of the items we just talked about. First, tow hooks directly under the front bumper. Electronic siren, PA speaker, and air horn. Bumper extension has the tubbed storage location for dry deck material inside, hose storage, and retaining Velcro straps. Front grille with your emergency warning lights, headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights, and turn indicator. Let's take a look at the front axle, where we'll find Alcoa wheels, Michelin tires. Moving now up to the fender structure, where you'll find your turn indicator at the top of the fender. All the way up onto the top of the hood section is where you'll find your air inlet, and then also the lock release mechanism for your hood. It is to the rear of the fender. There is mounted a red sticker indicating to remove the front bumper turret prior to tilting the front hood. Let's move now to the driver's side area where we'll find steps and also the ultra low sulfur fill location for your diesel fuel. To the right, the blue cap, which is your DEF tank. Let's move now to the A pillar where you'll find your mirror housing a flat upper portion and a lower convex portion. These are manually controlled. Let's move to the door entry position where you'll find the door latch and lock mechanism. It is a keyed entry, and then also right next to it you'll find a grab handle. Let's go ahead and move interior now. Let's first start at the door panel with all of our safety and warning information placards. Then let's start down at the floorboard where you'll find your master battery switch. Just up from that location on the seat pedestal is where you'll find a placard. We'll go over that in just a few moments. Your vehicle is equipped with an air ride seat, and there are comfort controls within reach of the operator. Let's go ahead and take a look. Master battery switch on the floor area, and then let's go back to the manufactured by Pierce for your department. This is the placard, has the 5-digit job number, date of manufacture, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, all of the information regarding the VIN number, fluid capacities for each of the items within your apparatus. Directly above that, comfort control, air ride, front to back adjustment. Since we're in the cab, let's go ahead and start with the keyed ignition, just down about the left knee of the operator, accelerator, and brake. As we move upward, you'll find this black placard indicating the height, length, and gross vehicle weight rating, and then also some switches which are right next to it for speed control, set excel for cruise control, headlight structure, and brighten and dim on the panel lights. Let's move to the dash cluster. Unfortunately, I don't have the best picture for this, but on the left you'll find your transmission, water temperature, and oil pressure. On the right hand side, you'll find a combination gauge for fuel and DEF level, and then also front and rear air. In the center, you'll find your tachometer and speedometer. Directly above, you'll find diagnostic engine information displayed in the display screen. Let's move just to the right of this location, operator's right, where we'll start first with your filter minder. This is your air filter for your engine. Just to the right, you'll find your automatic traction control switch on and off, and then also just beneath that you'll find your Allison transmission pad with a digital readout. As we move to the right, we have some indicator lights. First, pump engaged, OK to pump and roll. Moving further to the right, you'll find a yellow diamond. This is your pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. As we move further to the right, you'll find your PTO for the pump. You'll also find a screen which will display information regarding your vehicle, and then also some additional tally lights, red and green, indicating stop or activation. As we move down, you'll find a few more switches. We have mirror heat, we have differential lock, interaxle lock, and your regen switch. All the way to the right, you'll find the Pierce seatbelt information module. Red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted. Green, someone is in the seat and they are belted. Let's move further down on the dash area where you'll find your climate control, heat, defrost, and air conditioning. Further down, power outlets, barrel style, also electric window control and electric door lock control. As we move to the console area, you'll find your turret control joystick. To the rear section, you'll find map book storage. Let's look overhead of the operator's space. Directly in forward position on the dash, you'll find your backup camera monitor. As we look overhead, you'll find some additional switches on the left-hand side, a set of switches in the center. We'll go ahead and go over those. First, starting with emergency master, lower zone, rear zone, future switch location, your rear dump valve, and then also a selector switch for air horn or electric horn. Moving further to the right, you'll find rear scene, left scene, and right scene. Moving from this location all the way to the far right, you'll find your siren control module and PA speaker. Let's move now exterior. At the base of the pump panel area, we'll first start down just under the running board. On the left-hand side, driver's side auxiliary inlet, number 1, and manifold drains. As we move up, you'll find the passenger side auxiliary inlet. This is a 2.5-inch ball valve. Right next to it, the red module is your auto eject 20 amp. Just beneath that, you'll find your Watrous placard indicating the type of pump that you have. Let's move slightly to the right where you'll find your pump drain and also an air inlet, which is your service air. And then we'll move down to the very bottom. Lift and turn latch will gain you access behind the pump panel in this panel door. Let's go ahead and move up further onto the pump panel. We'll first start with your large diameter pump inlet. Moving further to the right, you'll find the number 1 driver's side discharge. It's a 2.5-inch. And then slightly above that, you'll find your tank to pump. Let's continue to take a look at the pump panel. We'll move just left of this location where you'll find a few warning placards. This is warning regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Also, your fire pump primer. It is a push to prime air. And also for best practices, priming at least at 1,000 RPMs. As we move just to the right, we're going to find crosslay number 2 and driver 1. You can see the placard indicating water and foam capable. As we move to the right, you'll find the number 2 passenger side and also this warning, only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment. Further to the right, engine cooler, large diameter passenger side discharge, and tank fill recirculating line. To the left, number 1 crosslay, foam water capable, and real discharge, foam water capable. As we move to the very top section, we have your main pump discharge gauge. This is the master gauge. Just beneath that, the main pump intake gauge, which is also your master gauge. Let's move just to the right to the blue water tank level indicator. And then just beneath that, you'll find the vacuum and pressure test gauge ports. They're currently plugged, and these are for testing purposes. Let's move just to the right where you'll find the pump boss, which is your pressure throttle governor. Just beneath that, you'll find a round black audible alarm. The outer edge of that bezel does rotate, allowing you to dampen the sound. And further to the right, you'll find an indicator OK to pump. Let's move down just to the right where you'll find your Foam Pro 1600 specifications and also Foam Pro module. The operating instructions are directly on the placard. As we move further to the right, you'll find your minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 PSI. Let's move up to the very top where you'll find your crosslays. There are 3 crosslays, 2 live, 1 dead. Let's move toward the rear to the body where you'll find at the very top 2 side-facing LED floodlights. All the way to the very rear, you'll find an emergency warning light. As we move downward, you'll find a 24-foot extension ladder and a 14-foot roof. Moving further down, you'll find a 10-foot attic ladder. And then moving further down onto the body itself, you're going to find first a marker turn indicator light. In between the 2 axles, you'll find SCBA bottle storage for 2 SCBA bottles. Directly under that, between the 2 axles, you'll find an LED emergency warning light. Let's take a look at some close-ups real quick. First, with the compartment door in the open position, in the upper vertical wall toward the front bulkhead is where you'll find your shoreline outlet, which is plugged into a battery charger and will operate when plugged into shoreline power. Also, you'll find the reel rewind for your booster line in this compartment. Forward of the axle, you'll find a turn indicator marker light. As we move toward the rear axle, you'll also find SCBA bottle storage. This is going to be 2 lift and turn latches will gain access into this space. There are also 2 retaining straps inside for bottle security. As we move to the very bottom section, this is your 10-foot folding ladder release mechanism on the right and also to the rear. Let's go up to the very top section here and we'll find your LED side-facing light. This is the forward section. As we move toward the ladder itself, we'll find the release mechanisms for your ladder. There are 2 on the exterior and 1 interior. As we move now to the rear compartment, adjustable shelf, LED lighting. Let's go ahead and move from this location to the rear of the apparatus. Let's start first on the ladder side access point. At the very bottom, you'll find an emergency warning light, turn indicator, brake, and reverse light. You'll also find hose bed lights and rear dump valve access in the cupped switch. Long drafting hose storage locations on the passenger and driver side. License plate holder and light. As we move toward the ladder area, you'll find the rear section of this through the frame rail, tow hooks on the passenger and driver side. You'll also find directly in the center your water dump, and then also just to the right of that location, a direct tank fill 2.5-inch ball valve. Let's go ahead and move to the very top section of the apparatus. We do have some emergency warning lights on the outer edges. Closer toward the center, you'll find 2 scene lights rear facing, and then directly in the center is where you'll find your backup camera. It does have a shield over the top of it. Let's go ahead and go up on top of the body section. First, starting with the yellow tape, this is indicating that this is a walking surface. Also, you'll find top fill water tank access, and then also top fill foam access. Would like to point out we do have a warning label: do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. These are the 3 crosslay locations just above the pump panel. As we move toward the cab, once again, this is a non-walking surface also. Let's move around now to the passenger side rear section of your apparatus. We'll start with this area. First, starting with the compartments in the lower section. Just to the rear axle is where we'll find an additional adjustable shelf, roll-up door, LED lighting inside. Let's move upward from this location where you'll find your equipment rack, which houses your porta tank. At the very top section, emergency warning light to the rear. Just forward of that location, a side-facing floodlight. As we move to the tandem axles in between, SCBA bottle storage location, once again for 2 SCBA bottles, retaining straps inside, 2 lift and turn latch will gain you access, emergency warning light just down from that location. Just forward of this position, directly in front of the front axle, you'll also have a turn indicator marker light. Let's go ahead and move down to the very bottom section under the first compartment where you'll find your exhaust. Extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist. Be cautious where you park your vehicle, especially during regen operations. As we move to the next compartment up, adjustable shelving, LED lighting, and ventilation. Another picture here of your equipment rack which holds your porta tank. At the very top section, side-facing LED light. Let's go ahead and move now to the pump panel area. Starting at the bottom, just above the running board is where you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Just up from this location, a placard for your minimum operation maintenance schedule. As we move upward from this location toward the front, you'll find a warning label here regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Pierce logo, American flag eagle, passenger side large diameter inlet. Also additional access behind the pump panel, behind the pan door. As we move up, we'll find the number 2 passenger side discharge. It is a 2.5-inch discharge. As we move forward to that location, large diameter passenger side discharge. Also, you'll find the powered equipment rack module for controlling it. There are instructions on it and also danger placard information. Additional access, lift and turn latch will gain you access behind the pump panel into the pump area. As we move to the very top section, this is where your cross lays are going to be. Same configuration. You have 2 live loads, the forward section, and then 1 additional dead load to the rear. Let's go ahead and move now to the front section of the cab area. Same configuration, but let's go ahead and go through this area also. As we move inside, first affixed to the door panel, all of our safety and warning information placard. Let's go ahead and move inside the cab now to the passenger space. First, grab handle on the left. As we move to the floorboard area, you'll find a foot pedal which will control the air horn. Just underneath the officer seat is where you'll find additional storage. As we move to the A-pillar, you'll find a grab handle. And then as we move inside the cab, at the very top section, you'll find additional storage and then also your PA speaker electronic siren module. As we move to the front area of the cab, this is that sticker I was indicating the front turret must be removed before tilting the hood. On the top of the fender, turn indicator, intersection light, Alcoa wheels, Michelin tires. As we move around to the front section headlight structure housing low and high beam headlight and also a turn indicator. And then as we move around to the front bumper turret, congratulations, Nyssa Rural Fire Protection District, Oregon, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 34977. If you have any questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.